said if she shows up, that's the main thing.
Yeah, she'll be there, and we were discussing D&L. D&L forgot to show up out here.
Gotta get the left show. Yeah, I had mentioned to somebody that D&L wasn't there, and they usually are.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if Les is having health problems or what's going on. Les always used to come to all the Hamfests, but the last couple of years, you know, I don't know, I just keep my opinions to myself, but it's too bad that we don't see him around here anymore.
Well, at one point he was talking about ending it. He wasn't going to do it anymore.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you mentioned that, the last year that he was at our, I'd say it might be the last time. Maybe he's done with it, but I did talk to Steve with Amateur Accessories, and he's planning on coming. He's pretty sure that he can make it. He's going up to the East Coast, do something at his daughters and grandkids, and he was thinking that he's going to be home a day or two, and he was going to try and come.
Well, that's something to the guy. It's actually, depending on the route you take, it'd be closer than coming to Cedar Rapids.
Oh, you're talking about the guy at Associated Radio. Yeah, I've reached out to him the last few years, and I don't know what to say. So, you know, I'd like to have him come, and we used to have a place up in Minneapolis used to come down too. But that person retired.
Yeah, I knew that. They announced ahead of time too that they were going to be retiring. KD0WI mobile for anybody that cares.
W1HAM also mobile.
And WA0HLM.
So what's that one little town before when you go past Lisbon? I think there's a restaurant on the left-hand side. It's called Ditto's or something like that.
Yeah, I know where you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop there. Get something to eat. They probably have pretty good food.
Yeah, I've eaten there on the way out one time. I can't remember who I was with. We stopped there and had breakfast. It was decent. I'm trying to remember if that's the place that wouldn't allow. Somebody told me they wouldn't allow service dogs in there. If I had Yukon, I'd make a point of stopping.
I don't think there's any place that can stop that. I don't think that's even legal. If you got a service dog, you got to let them in your establishment. That's just the way it is.
Well, that's what I told the person that I was talking to. Had a service dog and had stopped there and got kicked out. Couldn't have the dog in there. And I said, oh man, I want to stop there. I guarantee you I won't leave. They'd have to call the police and I'd have them arrest the guy. There's a federal law that covers that.
Well, I would imagine, forgetting about the federal law, I would say it's probably a state law in Iowa. So, I mean, I don't know, it's my opinion that federal law don't mean crap in the state, but obviously I'm wrong.
Well, all I know is that there is a federal law that covers that and a lot of other stuff to do with the service dog. Service dog considered part of the individual. But anyway, if I ever find out for sure what place it was, I'll make a point of stopping in with Yukon.
Well, I thought some lumber yard over there in the Quad Cities wouldn't let you in or something.
You want to go in here? We just passed it.
No, next town, Rich.
Yeah, a guy in at Menards got smart with me about him, but I set him straight. He was just a flunky employee.
Well, you must be getting pretty hungry, Rich.
Just had 2 breakfast bars for breakfast, and a glass of orange juice, so, and a cup of coffee.
The money's burning a hole in his pocket, Kelly.
Well, yeah, he probably wants to spend a little bit before he gets home and Mary takes it all.
So, now we got a, is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, it's called Lisbon. I couldn't think of the name. Actually, it wasn't Lisbon. It's the one after that. It's after the 4-lane. This will turn back into 2-lane. That's right there. I can't think of the name of that town, but that's where that restaurant is.
Are you guys ahead of us or behind us?
Well, let's see here. I'm at exit 68 or exit 2. Just past the Lisbon sign. 4-lane.
Yeah, we're just going by exit 265.
Okay, you must be like 3 miles ahead. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know which way these numbers are going. I haven't been paying any attention.
We just crossed 268.
You're ahead of us. The numbers go up. The numbers go up as you go east through the state.
Okay, well, if you want to stop, we'll be there.
Well, maybe Greg's buying.
Yeah, Greg says it doesn't matter to him, so we can stop and let Rich buy.
With me.
Yeah, I had someone give me a couple $2 bills. I haven't seen them forever. And they're old ones. I don't know why the heck they'd be spending them.
They're counterfeit.
Yeah, I told him that when I saw Bill Clinton's picture on him.
That'd be reason enough not to take them. So you guys got off at the Lisbon exit 268?
Right by it. We're going to the next town. Right where the four-way ends. Now we're at 270. Mile marker 270. Back on the two-way.
It's that little restaurant called Ditto's. I think that's what it's called, and it's on the left-hand side in that little town that I can't think the name of.
Dildos, did you say?
Here, I'll spell it for you. Delta India Tango
W0YR.
Rich has only got one thing on his mind.
Yeah, I know. I wonder about him sometimes.
So does Mary.
See, they got the rail crew working out today.
W0YR, testing on the crossband repeater, W0YR.
Sounds good. KE0IZD.
Yeah, I think they work on this track every day. They must have a lot of traffic go through here.
Dude, this is the busiest east-west line. There's a radio guy working on the repeater there for the railroad.
They got that linked up somehow because I had my scanner on not too long ago, and you could hear Union Pacific guys clear out to Nebraska, Clinton, frickin' middle Iowa, right on the same frequency. You could hear them plain as day, so they must be on the internet too.
W0YR, testing crossband repeater, W0YR.
Oh, you know what? I think it's the town after Mechanicsville. This is the wrong town. We got one more town to go.
Stanwood.
Yep, that's the name of it. I couldn't remember the name.
got the whole crew here today. Here comes the train.
Test 123 WB0 EMJ test.
Yep, all them guys working for Buffett.
Test WB0 EMJ.
We're talking about Stanwood.
Yeah, that's what Roger just told you.
Yep.
Test WB0 EMJ test 1-2 test.
Well, you know, one day I was working down there at the Muscat station, and Warren Buffett showed up. So,
Test 123 test WB0 EMJ.
What doesn't he own?
123.
I don't know, but you know the thing about it is, Roger, if, because the guy come to me, I had no frickin' idea. You wouldn't, if you met him in person, you wouldn't even know that.
Test WB0 EMJ test.
Average, ordinary guy.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. He's supposed to be a real nice guy.
He is a super nice guy, and I remember I was working on some valves, and I was showing these apprentices. I had like half a dozen apprentices, and we're taking these castle nuts off, and they were struggling, so I jumped up on top, and I grabbed like a 20-pound sledge, and I busted them damn nuts loose, and then Warren Buffett was sitting there watching me, and he come over and talking to me. And after the fact, they told me who he was.
Well, that says something right there for the guy that he gets out and checks the various places that he's got business at.
See, when we shut that turbine down, they had an issue where the backup oilers didn't kick on, so it smoked all the bearings, and we had to evacuate the power plant because they were worried that everything was going to start on fire. That's why he showed up.
I'm sure that would cause a little bit of concern.
Somebody lost their job over it.
I think it was just a mechanical failure. It wasn't anyone's fault. I mean, they did everything procedure, but, you know, he just probably wanted to figure out how to fix that problem. So it didn't happen again, I would imagine.
Jerry and I went someplace, and I was following Jerry, and every time I got on the radio, I overloaded his radio with signal. He couldn't hear me.
05 Hotel Tango Foxtrot.
Is that you holding up traffic up in front of us?
No, it's not. We got a guy that's going 10 miles an hour ahead of us. We're here.
Oh, maybe they changed the name of this place. There's like a Highway 30 sign. Oh, I guess not. That's Thirsty on 30. That must be a bar. So it's kind of next door. Well, we're here. If you're going to stop, we'll wait outside for you guys.
Alrighty. We're just about to go past the big tower structure on the right-hand side of the road.
Parked and we're right across from the big grain storage tanks. It's called Dittos.
Dildos.
November Alpha 9 Lima Echo monitoring 5-2, NA9L lead listening on 5-2. NA9LE, WX9W Mobile. Hey, how you doing, Wayne? Not bad for mobile. You up by Amboy? Yeah, I had to open my squelch up a little. You're barely breaking it there. I had it turned way up so I'm not picking up distant stuff. I'm at the work here today. I know you're not on Facebook, but do you do much public service work? Actually, I am on Facebook. Hey, you know what? I think you are. I'm not sure if I added you or I may have. Got a car show coming up. You guys, if some of you be interested in. That's out here. My boss is going. So yeah, I won't be available. Alright, well, figured I'd ask. I'm looking for a couple guys to work the afternoon shift, just to relieve the morning guys. Most of us are only needed in the morning, but we'll still need a presence in the afternoon. So, well, thanks for coming back, and hope you enjoy the rest of the day. It's a hot one out there. Stay hydrated. Yeah, Roger, will do. Fireworks. It'll be a little bit. Good one there. Talk. And any WX9 or NA WX9W Mobile. Alright, Wayne, just had someone else jump in there. WX9WL, NA9LE73, and Kitty9BSU. Just cut you on the repeater. You sounding good on Simplex here. NA9LE and 9GLY. Oh yeah, seeing the bands opening, I'm seeing quite a few repeaters buzzing in on different channels there. I can see the one in Antioch showing a little bit of signal on the Utica one, but with the tone squelch on I can't hear it, but I can definitely tell that the band's open. Sorry, I had a phone call. What was that? With the antenna? Sorry. Well, I was talking on FT70 from my front porch on the repeater, but I'm up in the shack now with an FTM 300 on a GP9 at 40 feet. As much coverage as I have with my setup, I can see if I've got like, well, for instance, the Utica repeater, I've got the squelch on, but if someone's talking on the one in Antioch, I can see a signal on my S meter, but it doesn't break through because it's not the right tone. And you can also use APRS.FI, or no, Menolink .FI, I think it is. It uses APRS data to tell when propagation is enhanced, because each iGate reports to Menolink where it's hearing beacons from. And when it starts picking up beacons from a couple states away, you know, it'll show website. Yeah, well, if you type in Menolink, MENNOLINK, make sure you click on the one that's actually for amateur radio, because apparently Menolink is also a dating website for Mennonites.
Yeah, I'm gonna bookmark this website now.
Yeah, it's not as active as it was earlier, but there's been days, there was a couple, like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, the whole Midwest was red, and I made contact. They had to move down to 500 and cut a couple guys, a couple Ks up, because 5-2 was so busy, but I made contacts in Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa.
Well, that was a real good lunch. W1HAM. Trying to show Donnie. Just having ditto. Back up here in the Jeep, and
That was a good lunch, so glad you thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, this area is one of, like, the busier areas.
well, it was certainly a lot better than McDonald's or one of them kind of places.
It's dead in my area, and nobody's ever on. I call out on 5-2, and nobody comes back. I rarely ever not get someone coming back on 5-2 when I give a call out.
Well, I don't think I have any need for a GPS. I know that Highway 30 runs right up into Clinton, so I don't think I'm going to get lost.
Yeah, well, we just, Rich, and I know UW that was just on, he owns the Utica repeater, and we just got the tower finished. It's at 160 feet now.
Yeah, the other night I was seeing they were showing this thing, search. In some county in Iowa. They're learning how to, basically, hide a transmitter and find it with the radio. So, well, that's odd. That's like an amateur radio thing. That's a long, long time ago. But anyways, they're practicing that with CERT, and so I guess they're going to put them on, put some kind of a transmitter on all.
Without them having to take a test. And this one will provide very, very good coverage of the state parks. So if you go out there with family, people wander off, you can stay in contact, because, the repeater's right there. You may not be.
Distribute them. So
I just ordered
you don't have to worry about the money no more. The county's going to cover all that for you.
for GMRS that does GPS, send position reports, request position reports, and short text messages. And it's the first of its kind. Garmin was the only other radio or device that was able to send GPS data over GMRS frequencies, which is legal. And it literally came out like 3 or 4 days ago, so had to order one.
At a location where that device should be, and if it left that territory, an alarm the minute it disappeared.
Well, that's what they do with all the cordless tools for the company that I work for. You know, they supply all the tools and stuff, and everything's set up like that. So if you walk off and steal their tools, you're going to be in trouble.
It as well, because it's supposed to be able to support D-Star, DMR, Fusion, NXDN, P25, all of it. And the Utica repeater, we've got a DR2X that we're waiting to install once we get some finishing touches done. We got some ice bridge to install.
Oh, yeah, it is. And then when I was going to school, you know, we were talking about RFIDs, the identification chips, you know, where you put on everything. And they were talking about, you know, in the future they were going to be putting them on all the, like the pallets and stuff going from one place to the other. But it's way too expensive of a system. The stores didn't buy into that. He wants to do 10 miles an hour and drink a scotch down the road.
Just turned off. Dad or Roger shoved him off to the side of the road.
Well, when I went by him, he was actually lifting up a bigger, so I don't know. That's pretty cool.
Different situations. Have you ever done any public service events? I gotcha. Yeah, he's the emergency coordinator for LaSalle County. I'm the assistant emergency coordinator for LaSalle County. And I'm doing my first without any, well, I've got guidance, but I'm going to be the head guy doing it because, you know, one of these days I'll probably take over as EC. And it's a car show at Scott F. Chicago. So, looking for guys to walk through the crowd with a radio. If people have questions, answer them. Initially in the morning, we'll be kind of coordinating parking all the show cars where they need to go, making sure spectators stay where they're supposed to be, make sure they're parking where they're supposed to park. And on top of that, they're doing a 200-way world record attempt, so they're going to be doing, it's going to be a crazy weekend out there. So each load for that record attempt requires 12 planes, so that's a lot of canopies in the air at the same time. But if you want to get on the list, be more than happy to have you. It's the 20th and 21st of August. Alright, well, send me an email when you get a chance. My call sign at ARRL.net, NA9LE@ARRL.net, and I'll get you on the list and the email list as well for updates. My call sign, November Alpha 9, Lima Echo, NA9LE, at ARRL.
Oh, I must be going too slow for you.
No, you're going okay. I got my cruise control set.
Old fogey.
Hey, honey.
I didn't know I was going that slow.
70.
I think Kelly's up there pumping awful hard.
Standby 1, NA9LE.
It's 55, isn't it?
Oh, I thought it was about 62.
Hey, I got someone here I had some stuff listed on Marketplace, and someone's here to pick up some antiques. So I got a sign, NA9LE at ARRL.net. Your email address is on QRZ, so if yours is on QRZ, I'll be able to email you as well. So catch you later, 73 NA9LE. I'll be clear.
Oh, Roger, did you get your air fryer all worked out?
Did I get what worked out?
Well, you had some missing parts for your air fryer. You're waiting on FedEx to send some stuff.
Oh, yeah. I got so fed up with Amazon, I told them where they could stick it, and I called Ninja to let them know what a lousy retailer they had selling their product. The gal asked me what the model number was, and she shipped me. Actually, I had three trays coming, and she shipped me 4. Yeah, I did a venison roast last night. It came out real good.
Yeah, when I first got mine, I bought a chicken, and I did that, and that was so good. You know how that thing has that rotisserie in it. But it says you can put a 6-pound chicken in, but I think the smaller the better.
I want to say mine will take a 12-pound, and they claim that you don't need a rotisserie with this, that it'll get done just like a rotisserie.
You probably got to cut it up then. Well, I don't know. I guess it doesn't make any difference. Hell, it's going to cook no matter what. But I don't know. Mine has a rotisserie. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll be trying one eventually. I cooked a burger in it. It was okay, but I didn't know what I was doing. It's one thing I got against them is their instruction manuals or their recipe manual. All they want to do is all these fancy meals. I want to use it just for simple stuff. Give me some basics.
Oh, yeah. I've got a pretty decent one with mine, but I don't know. I can't compare it to any other brand, so, well, you might have a better one than me.
Well, I threw some, when I did the venison roast, I it in with some up into fries. But there again, I didn't know what I was doing. They were okay, but they weren't real nice and crispy like I would have liked to seen them. They should have been in longer.
Well, as far as French fries go, I've tried it. I tried that too. I like French fries cooked in the Fry Daddy the best. You know, cook it in some grease like they were meant to be put in.
Well, like I say, I was just playing around. I had some sweet potatoes there that were starting to sprout. They were the last two I had, so just for the heck of it, I'm gonna cut them up and see how they are. But yeah, I think I'm gonna fries.
I like, you know how you buy them, you can buy a sack of like 10 burritos or whatever, the frozen burritos. I really like them in the air fryer. You know, it makes the outside of them nice and crispy. So I like them.
Well, I haven't tried anything like that. I'm just getting going on it. I got some brats and hot dogs and stuff like that in the freezer that I'll be trying in it. I want to try to use up the stuff I got in my freezer.
Oh, looks like Greg's almost home.
Chauffeur didn't say anything about dropping him off, though.
You drop him off at Dollar General and I let him walk to his house. I didn't mean to go that way.
I just opened the door and kicked him out, making the corner.
You're a real good friend, aren't you, Roger?
I think everybody in Wheatland clapped. I know Paul did.
pretty nice shorts over there to the left.
Yeah, that's enough to get you teed off.
I wonder if she's going to be sore tonight when she goes to sleep.
She might be.
So what's going on with all them signs? Well, you see them sometimes. It says no jobs, no solar.
Pushing Fairchild, monitoring device.
Don't they want to use up a bunch of land for solar panels around here? Take up good farming fields.
Well, who's promoting that? What's Clinton County going to go into solar business now?
Company that wanted to take up I don't know how many acres, hundreds of acres of thing for solar panel. Midwest Energy.
Oh, I thought it was like Clinton County or something.
No, but they were the one pressing it to do it.
Ah, okay. That doesn't make much sense to me, but I don't know. I guess solar should just be, you know, if someone wants it, well, put it on your house. Put a panel in your yard. But yeah, they shouldn't use up a bunch of good ground.
And after 30 years, 3 decades, they're no good. They're not recyclable, and they're all hazardous waste. And who's going to rip out the, you know, how many cubic yards of cement that's going to be stuck in the ground there that somebody's going to have to try to get rid of?
Well, my prediction would be it's just going to sit there and it's going to rot because someone already made that money. They don't care.
Yep. And even if they have an agreement to take care of it, agreement.
Yeah, but I think they're starting to have that problem out on the West Coast with like them windmills. There's all kinds of windmills that are no longer being used because they're no good and they're just standing there.
Yep. No, when I was out there, we were driving through some of the mountains there, and the whole mountainside was full of wind turbines. And, you know, it cost X millions of dollars to put them in, and it was going to cost X million of dollars to take them out.
Well, I bet they don't take them out. I bet they just leave them.
Yep. And so they're an eyesore, and they're taking up property that could be used for something else.
Last few times I've been out to Clear Lake working, there's a lot of property owners out there that are kind of having a hard time selling their homes and stuff because they're surrounded by them big windmills. So they're trying to they're trying to get rid of them in their area. They don't want any more. They can't. Their property values are going down because they can't sell.
Well, they're fiberglass and a bunch of stuff that's not recyclable also. At least they haven't been able to figure out how to do it. And they're using precious metals for the solar panels and everything else. You know, once they use that, they can't recycle. You know, with transistors and solid state stuff, they can recycle some of that. But with the solar panels, they're baked into stuff. The chemicals are all fused in there, and there's no way to get them out.
Well, that's like whatever kind of stuff they're using to make them solar panels. Once that stuff's all used up, it's not a renewable resource. It's gone.
That's the point I was getting across. That, you know, they're doing it for something that's only going to last 3 decades.
And they're against oil. So that doesn't make no sense. I bet there's enough oil to last thousands of years if you just pump it and use it. And I bet there's a lot more coal too.
There is, but Biden's shutting all that down. So, I don't know what's going to happen. It's a big mess.
For something they got ruled.
WA0HLM mobile.
They all have, so maybe they might have.
Yep, W1HAM mobile going through Grand Mound. Yeah, I think that might take me a nap for about a half hour before I unload this. Got a lot of stuff in here.
You get rid of quite a bit?
Oh, I got rid of a little bit, but not as much as I wanted to. I didn't get any good offers on like that Hammerlin that I have. One person was looking at it, and he wouldn't give me an offer. He's just making excuses why he didn't need to buy it. No one even looked at that, them stereo amplifiers. That was kind of a dumb thing to even be bidding on something that old. You know, at least movies you can watch. With them amplifiers, hell, you got to have all the components. Well, them amplifiers, well, that's what they are. They're amplifiers for stereos. But yeah, that was kind of a waste. I should have never bid on them stupid things, but at least they only cost a couple bucks.
I was going to say, because I got a whole garage full, I didn't bother carrying because nobody buys them. Got a bunch, and they some of them all need dry belts, the tape players. So by the time you get all that put in there and fixed, then they don't want to pay for it anyway. They want it dirt cheap.
Yeah, that's true. That's just like that mixer that you messed with. The best offer I got was $10.
Yeah, and if it didn't work, they said, well, I'm not going to give you $10 for it. It don't work.
Probably a couple hundred CDs, you know, the music CDs. that also came with all them DVDs that I bought. Well, I looked at the titles of all them. Well, that's like that screaming heavy metal music. I threw every one of them right in the trash.
Heavy metal, man. Well, you need to find the girls who got nose and eye rings and sell them to them.
No, I just thought, no, I ain't even going to deal with it. I just put them right in the trash.
Those two girls that were looking at them, did they buy any CDs or DVDs?
Still buying.
I think between them two girls and their brother, they probably spent $15.
Well, that's good. I saw them over there looking at them a long time.
Oh yeah, they had to go down and borrow some money from their dad.
They loaned it to him, so he wasn't really a cat.
Yeah, did you look at that Starlink satellite? Them guys that were sitting next to us from Minnesota?
No, I didn't. Stand by. I'm going to turn here.
That's his internet and everything, you know, sitting right down there in that little box. And he's kind of showing that to me, but that'll automatically changes the azimuth and, spin it like a rotator, you know. It'll aim it at that satellite. And he uses his phone and his internet.
Yeah, and I asked his dad, I said, does he use that very often? He says, no. The only time he uses it is when he's trying to demonstrate it to somebody.
Yeah, and he has to pay Elon Musk $135 a month for that service.
TV or your cell phone or anything else. So, unless you're going to really use it, or unless you got lots of money and don't care about how you spend it, that's it. Well, we're just about home.
I have the Kenwood.
Yep. Well, you know that battery-operated fan, that they had, they had two of them. I asked about them. He said they're like $25 a piece on Amazon, and they have them lithium-ion phosphate batteries inside. So you can actually charge them up, and that fan will run for almost a day before it needs to be charged.
It's in the box. I never opened the box.
All right, well, that's good. Because with the old lead acid or gel cells, you get 3-4 hours and that's about it. So, and then, like I said, like we were talking, that if it's rated at, that means it's actually good for about 500 in real running. It's not watt hours, it's amps. If it's a 200 amp battery rating, it's only good for about 100.
Oh, so what, my 30 amp battery is only good for 15?
Yep. Because we had to figure that, we always had to figure what size lead acid battery we were putting in the alarm panels to make sure it was going to last for a day or 2 days. So, and like you said, if you draw it down too low, it's going to lose even more every time you charge it.
Okay, well, he said to keep them between 20% and 80%, I believe.
Yeah. So I usually, anytime, a lot of this, even the radio battery, when I use the radio, I put it back on the charger. And then once in a while, you'll drain it down to where it's lower and then put it on charge and let it a little longer. Right lane's closed. There we go. W1HAM, W1, WA0HLM.
Yep, W1HAM going over the bridge.
Well, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm not as experienced as you are.
Okay, Crackable alert, exit 18, 7 miles.
Well, that's kind of what I was doing. I was looking through all the antenna options and seeing what I could make, what would work on my property and how I could set it up and everything. That would be good someday, yeah. I'm still trying to check out what I think I would like. I don't know. I agree with you. You're exactly right, yeah. Well, this is a low budget station, so I gotta kind of, be careful.
Did Tom ever figure out when the Belvedere Ham Fest was? I didn't hear him say.
I still